In a recent team meeting, I had been noticing some trends that were starting to come up as more and more of the Jesse Johnson coaching team is directly serving clients. We are all figuring out how to take our service to the next level as a collective, as a team, not just Jesse taking her service to the next level, but the company taking its service to the next level. And there were 3 things that we surfaced that were causing some glitches in the level of excellence that we were delivering. And the first one was showing up around buying into clients' stories. You'll be familiar with this because you know this from your own work. This is one of the challenges that all individual solopreneurs face also. So buying into client stories, this is subtle. Like, you gotta be real on the lookout for it. But what I was seeing in all, 4 or 5 different people on my team were caving, and I could feel the disempowerment that they were feeling in their communication or in their response, and looking at what is this? Is there a trend? Is this different in each situation? And as we started to examine it together, what we saw was oh no, what's happening here is that we're just buying into client stories. They're giving us a line, a hook, hey, don't you wanna buy my subconscious sabotage? And the people on my team who have not been practicing that necessarily for the last 6 years, every day, day in, day out, were saying, yeah, I'll take the hook, not realizing what was happening until after the fact. And they kind of felt it doesn't feel quite right. It was hard to pinpoint what was happening. And so it was a really potent conversation, and frankly, not a black and white one. I don't think this is one that you can just say hey, y'all, don't buy into your client stories and that's it. We got to talk about it. We got to look at case studies. We got to examine what happened in this situation? What's the story? Or how do you discern what's story and what's not story? It's deep interpersonal dynamics. The second thing that came up, very closely related, and I think it actually helped with the first, was distinguishing between pleasing and serving. A lot of the people on my team come from jobs and other careers where customer service was highly valued. And now they're coming into Jesse Johnson Coaching, where we hold a very high standard of excellence around customer service. But the value is precise. We value service, customer service, not customer pleasure. You go to a hotel, those things might be the same thing, but in a coaching business, in a transformation business, those things are not necessarily the same thing, because what serves our clients may not always feel pleasurable. We hope it does as much as possible, but if we have to choose, we're going to choose service. So there's a mindset shift around that. There's a culture shift around that. And it can be uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable to make that choice. So we had, again, some deep conversation about what that looks like, what's hard about it, when it comes up, right? How to recognize it in the first place. Oh, I'm getting tempted to please. And the thing that's interesting, just a little side note, is that generally speaking, not all the time, but often, the moments that I can tell my team has chosen to please a client rather than focus on serving them ends up meaning that some of my boundaries get compromised. It's they feel like they have to choose between the client and me, and they choose the client. And that in and of itself is an indication that something's off, because it should never be a choice. There should never be a competition between me and the client. We're here to serve the clients, and everything that serves me serves the clients, and the team is there to serve both. The third and final thing that came up was a general theme that it can be difficult to go deeper when it's uncomfortable for us or for the client. Again, this is something that I have been navigating, practicing, deepening my capacity, increasing my capacity to hold the entire time I've been in business. I think it's a very rare and refined skill. And now my team is interfacing with my clients. They are being called to a higher standard in their capacity to hold space for discomfort, their own and others. When they don't do it, when any of us don't do it, it shows up as just staying shallow, right? We keep things on the surface. We laugh things off. We buy into people's stories as a way of avoiding discomfort, right? There's There's a lot of overlap in these three things. And the challenge of being willing to go deep, even if it's uncomfortable, in fact, because it's uncomfortable, is a real challenge. And so we had that conversation too. Like, really, truly, Jessie, as your boss, I'm raising the standard on y'all. Like, what's coming up? What's this gonna be like? Where is this gonna be hard for you? How can I support you? A huge part of what felt significant to me about this conversation was simply giving them permission to hold the values that I've been holding privately in my own little silo this whole time. So again, not buying into their stories, prioritizing service, not necessarily pleasure, serving, not pleasing. And third, being willing to go deep, even if it's uncomfortable. And so part of my role as CEO and leader is to remind them, you get to do this. I will support you. I will have your back. I will train you, but I will also fight for you when you do these things. Even if our clients who we're here to serve don't always like it. This is our job. This is what we're here to do. As you take in this story, think about what are the opportunities for you to already be shifting the culture and mindset of your team. And you can also use this to anticipate. They may not be there yet, but you know they're going to. What can you do to proactively set your team up for success so that they are in position to hold to the values of your company with integrity and ease? It's powerful. It will take your service to the next level.